Shalom! In this video we're going to talk about some quick tips for saving money. And if this is your first video watching of ours, my name is Cody and this is my wife Sarah. We moved to New York City 10 months ago with no jobs, no job prospects. We just moved here, got an apartment, and have been living our life as YouTubers. And we get asked a lot of how did you save enough money to move from Oklahoma to New York City without any jobs?
Yeah, I think the simple answer to that is that we prioritized saving and we prioritized being responsible with our money. And whether you're looking to relocate to a new city or just like go on some trips or you want to see a higher number in your savings account, I think these tips are kind of what we live by and they're just magic. If you do them, they work.
Let's jump into tip one. Tip number one is the most important thing because if you don't know where your money is going, you can't actually save it. So tip number one is to track your spending and create a budget. And if you don't know what a budget is, it is as simple as that. It's just tracking how much money you spend, figuring out what you spend money on, and then deciding how much you want to spend next month on those things. And to give you a practical example of how this can help you is you may not realize that you're potentially spending right now $1,800 on coffee. And that sounds like a huge number, but that is why it's so important to track your spending because all that is $5 a day. And so many of us spend $5 a day stopping in the coffee shop and getting a cup of coffee. But at the end of the year, you just spent $1,800. And to put into perspective what you can do with $1,800 is Sarah and I traveled Europe in 2016 with a total of 14 flights between the two of us, and we did that for $1,400. And that still has money left over that we could use to spend on the trip. So just by not drinking a $5 cup of coffee every single day, you can go on a 2-week backpacking trip in Europe. Tip
number two is get out of debt. Because if you're always paying off last month's bills or whatever, you can't actually get ahead. If you guys haven't heard of this guy, his name's Dave Ramsey. I'm a huge fan of his, he calls it Financial Peace University. We actually went through his process several years ago. We had 2 car payments and a house payment, and I felt like we were just trying to keep up instead of getting ahead. And he does something called the debt snowball. And so you take your smallest debt and then put anything extra you can toward it every month. And then once you pay off the small debt, you transfer all of the money you were paying to that to the next biggest debt. And so there's like this ripple effect. So Dave Ramsey's method is this. First step is create a budget. Second step is save $1,000 for what he calls an emergency fund. So this is anything that happens in your debt-free journey that emergencies that come up, like your air conditioning breaks or whatever. This $1,000 is to go toward that so that you don't put it on a credit card. The second is the debt snowball, so starting to pay off all of your debt. And then the next step is saving 3 to 6 months expenses. And this is for when you're debt free and you have all freedom, and it's just like a security net. And that's what we do, and it is the best method I have found to saving money, paying off debt, doing the things that you really, really want to do. So the next tips that we're going to tell you are kind of how to practically save the 3 to 6 months.
And the third tip is another big Dave Ramsey principle as well, and that is to use cash. Because if you're actually carrying cash, you can't overspend. If you have 50 bucks in your pocket and you spend 50 bucks, you now have $0 to spend. But if you're using a debit card, you just keep swiping, keep swiping, keep swiping. All of a sudden you've spent $150 on something that you originally only planned on spending $50 on. But if you detest cash like I do, there are digital methods to do this, and the one that we use is called the Cash App. And Cash App is like Venmo or Google Card, things like that, but the Cash App specifically gives you an actual debit card linked to that account. So you can link your bank account to the Cash App, transfer 50 bucks over to it, and then you can use your cash debit card to make your purchases. And once you run out of $50, this card no longer works, and it helps you save money by not just blindly spending. And if you're interested in using the Cash App, there is an invite link in the description, and if you use that, we both get a free $5 to help you jumpstart your savings.
The next tip is 2 parts. The first being don't spend more money than what you actually earn. So if you make $1,000 a month, don't spend more than $900 a month. The second is don't use credit cards. Cody and I are very big believers in not using credit cards. We actually didn't get a credit card until we went out of country, and we only got it for emergencies only. I just think credit cards are a really big risk and something that is so easy to lose control over. For example, if you only make $1,000 a month, but there's this thing that you want that's $1,200, you're like, oh, it's only $200 extra, I'll just pay that off next month. Well, I mean, it just accumulates from there because you're not actually going to be able to pay off that $200 the next month because you have all your other bills to pay for. However, I do realize that a lot of people like to have the perks of a credit card, especially travel cards. So if you are going to do credit cards, I think the only proper way to do it is to pay it off in full every single month.
So the next tip is to eliminate or at least reduce monthly subscriptions. For some reason in today's culture, every single person wants you to sign up for their monthly subscription, and this adds up so quickly. If you're spending $7 here, $10 there, $12 there, all monthly, that just adds up to a lot of money per year. And so it kind of goes back to our first point about actually tracking your spending. If you look at your bank account and actually tally up how much you're spending on monthly subscriptions, I think we would all be surprised how much money we're spending a year on all of this extraneous stuff. This isn't to say that you should eliminate every subscription from your life. I mean, if you can, awesome, but even we don't. We have a few and we prioritize which ones are the most important for us. And so if you really love movies and you want to keep MoviePass, that's totally fine. Just look at all of your subscriptions and say, I don't actually use this one that much, and just sacrifice that one. So you can save that $150 to $300 a year.
The next tip is just to get creative with the money that you already have. There are thousands of ideas out there, but here's a few just to kind of get the ideas flowing. 1, share a meal with someone whenever you go out to eat, or better yet, cook at home and invite your friends over. 2, maybe shop secondhand. 3, make your own cleaning supplies. And 4, road trip instead of paying for that flight, because gas is a lot cheaper than airline tickets.
So the last tip is quality over quantity. I know whenever you need a new shirt or you think you need a new shirt, going to Forever 21 and spending $10 on a shirt seems like it's better for your budget than buying an $85 shirt. But there have been so many studies on this that have proven that if you buy a $10 shirt every week or every couple weeks, that actually adds up to be more money than just buying a nice piece of clothing and wearing it. And this conversation also comes down to just being content with what you have, and you know, consumerism in America obviously tends to pull us to spend more money than what we actually need to. But if we buy the quality goods and be content with a smaller wardrobe instead of needing to buy a new shirt or new dress every single time we have a party or anything like that, that saves so much money and you get more quality goods.
Yeah, so those are all of our tips. I know they sound kind of simple, but they're actually really difficult to implement.
And the proof of that is that if they were easy, everybody would do that and we'd all have all the money we need.
Yeah. I do think though that if you actually can implement these into your life, the freedom you will gain from it is incomparable.
Yeah. Financial freedom is one of the greatest things you can do for your personal security and happiness.
Yes, absolutely.
So hopefully that helped you guys and gives you some ideas of things you can do to start saving money and accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not. We actually do vlogs and videos like this every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We also do a podcast called Deeply Curious every single Tuesday, which you can check out by going to podcast.codyjensen.com or just searching Deeply Curious in whatever podcast app you feel like searching it in. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.